Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tash and it's the start of November, so there's no better opportunity to tell you all about the books I read in October and the books that I'm looking forward to reading in the month going forward. Before we get started, I just want to say a big thank you to you all. My goal for this channel was to reach 20 subscribers by the end of October, and we actually hit 30. So I'm so grateful, and I cannot be more thankful for everyone who's decided to join me on this little booktube journey. So thanks so much. In October, I read 5 books and DNF'd 1. I gave 3 books 4 stars and 2 books 5 stars, and my most read genres were horror, thriller, and interestingly, historical. The first book I read in October was The Troop by Nick Cutter, a horror which follows a group of scouts and their scoutmaster on their annual trip to an uninhabited island where they encounter an unnatural horror that no one can save them from. I hesitate to say I enjoyed this because it definitely wasn't a pleasurable read, but it was very good. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. The atmosphere and the tension is on point, even though it was a lot slower paced than I was kind of expecting going in. The way that the story's written and built, with so many characters and different perspectives and looks at their personal lives, just added so much to the story. You could definitely see the Stephen King influence throughout this, and it just felt so gripping and terrifying. It was a slow build of tension rather than one thing constantly after another, and it was really good. It was horrifying and disturbing, and I cannot stress this enough, completely disgusting. I would only recommend this to people that have a very strong stomach, because I've definitely heard from people in sort of my Bookstagram and comments that they couldn't get through this book because it was so disgusting. But if you're into that kind of thing, I would definitely recommend The Troop. Next, I finished The Ghostwriter by Julie Clark. This is a mystery thriller following our main character, Olivia, as she is called back to her childhood home to help ghostwrite the memoir of her father, who in and of himself is a prolific horror writer. They don't have much of a relationship, and part of that is due to his parenting as she was growing up, but also partly because she no longer wanted to be associated with the fact that her father, Vincent, was the sole survivor of a massacre that killed both of his siblings back in the 70s, and a massacre which he, even though it was never proven, a lot of people think that he was responsible for. So she goes home. She's a prolific, successful ghostwriter in her own right, and agrees to help him put together this memoir specifically about the events of the murder. But due to his deteriorating mental state because of Lewy body dementia, it's difficult for us and also for Olivia to determine whether or not what is being said is the truth or if it's just fabrication or hallucination. It is expertly written. The way the story is told, partly in the present and partly in the past, with varying perspectives. The characters are so vivid and the relationships feel so real. And I honestly can't commend this book enough for having such an amazing twist to it, while also feeling consistent and sowing the seeds all the way through. I think in my reading vlog, I said I was probably going to give this 4 stars, but the more I think about it, the more I love it. So I ended up giving this one 5 stars. Highly recommend. If you're looking for a great mystery, it's definitely more on the mystery side than the thriller side, but a great mystery that has amazing twists and turns, but also a really satisfying conclusion, which is quite hard to do in the thriller genre. Then I read What Hunger by Catherine Dang, which is a horror following a girl called Ronnie, who is the daughter of Vietnamese immigrants. In the wake of a tragic event which has sadly taken her older brother from them, this explores generational trauma, which is something I really enjoy reading about. Don't take that the wrong way. But aside from the loss of her brother, she also experiences the loss of something a lot deeper when a boy at the very first house party she goes to crosses a line, and it awakens something violent and very hungry in Ronnie. I find this book really difficult to talk about and difficult to sum up in a few sentences, because even though it's so short, there is so much in here. I don't know how to describe it. It feels like there are about 500 pages worth of content in here in only, I don't even remember how long it is. It is 273 pages. It's not long at all, but I don't mean that in a bad way. Sometimes books can feel like they're shoved into such a small page limit and everything feels rushed and not quite explained enough or expanded on enough. But this felt like it had about 500 pages worth of content that was all perfectly explained, perfectly expanded on. And I don't know how she's done it. I thought it was brilliant. I gave this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. There were moments where it felt a little bit slow for me, which is why I didn't give it 5. But honestly, if you have heard of this or if you have it on your shelf or on your radar, please give this a try because it is just amazing. And I don't know if this author's done anything before. Oh yes, she's written a book called Nice Girls. So I might check that one out because I really enjoyed this one. She's so talented. Now, for my best book of October, it has to be Katabasis by R F Kuang. Oh my god, did I love this one. I was intimidated. It's chunky. It's also very heavy. I realized as I was getting it off my shelf to film this video, it's really heavy, but oh my god, is it so good. Now, a quick reminder that I do have a read along on Storygraph at the moment for Katabasis. It currently has, I think, 13 participants, including myself. And I'm really loving getting to see people's sort of on-the-spot reactions after every couple of chapters. So if you're interested in being a part of that read-along, then I'll leave the links to that in the description down below and you can join us all on this little Katabasis journey to hell. Anyway, this follows 2 students of magic at Cambridge. When their course advisor dies and they're kind of a bit stuck, don't want to ruin their grades or anything like that, they decide that the best way to go about fixing that is to trade half of their lifespan to journey to hell to bring him back. Makes perfect sense to me. I don't know what if it makes perfect sense to everyone else, but that seems like the most logical solution. But boy, am I glad that they did go. This was just amazing. Honestly, this cover kind of sums it up perfectly. The vibes are on point. The way that R F Kuang interprets and writes about hell is just exquisite. I could picture it all so clearly in my mind. I feel like the way that she's written it, every person could have a slightly different interpretation of what it would look like to them. It was just fantastic. I wasn't sure. I love R F Kuang. The Poppy War is one of my favorite series. I really enjoyed Yellowface, but I haven't read Babel, so I was a bit nervous. People always say, you know, R F Kuang, you have to have a PhD to understand her books, and honestly I didn't find that at all. Maybe it was the fact that I listened to the audiobook and sort of read it at the same time that really helped me get in there. But I didn't find it to be all that difficult to read or difficult to understand at all. So it kind of makes me want to read Babel more, because if I really enjoyed this, then surely I'll really enjoy that. Let me know what you think if you've read both of them. But honestly, if you haven't read this yet, please get on it. It's so good. 5 stars, obviously. 5 stars. Next, I tried to read Tantrum by Rachel Eve Moulton. And I was really excited for this one. The cover is amazing, and I don't know if maybe the cover led me to have slightly incorrect expectations, but what I was expecting from this book was evil child really, doing evil, sadistic, disturbing things, and the mother, the main character, having to kind of deal with that. But that's not really what I got. It started off really well with the literal baby just ripping the head off of a chicken. To be warned for violence against animals. If you're not interested in that, if you don't like that, don't read this. But after a while, it just kind of sort of petered off, and the book became more about the mother understanding and going through her trauma. Honestly, I didn't really get too far into it after that. And I love books like that. I really enjoyed Night Bitch. You know, books about motherhood, even as someone who isn't a mother and probably never will be, I still find them really compelling and really interesting, and this one just wasn't doing it for me. I don't know if it's because it wasn't what I was expecting, but I wasn't interested in it. And the other reason that I DNF'd it is because a real pet peeve of mine is references to in modern media it almost instantly makes me DNF a book, because it tells me that you as an author do not give a shit about trans rights or about the heinous things that J.K. Rowling has said. So when I got to a passage about the main character describing her obsession with female villains, of which there are thousands out there, I felt that it was really unnecessary to include a character written by that author from that series. It was completely unnecessary, didn't need to be in there. You could have picked literally anyone else, but the fact that it was that reference just really gave me the ick. So, and if you're not sure which side of that debate I stand on, now you do. But it just really wasn't for me, and I think the author is someone that I'll probably steer clear of in the future, just because of the other stuff, which is sad because I was really looking forward to it. Anyway, my final book of the month, which I literally just managed to squeeze in right on Halloween. I didn't think I was going to make it, but I did, is The Starving Saints by Caitlin Starling. Am I saying that right? Because in another video that I kept saying her name wrong. Sorry about that. This is a medieval horror centered around three women who are stuck in Amar Castle that is under siege, has been under siege for months and months. Food's running out, hope is wearing thin, there's no sign of rescue coming, and behind the scenes, the people who are running the show are kind of starting to get to the point where they have to start scrambling on each other to survive. Horrific. The three main characters in this are, I honestly don't remember their names. Fireworks, man. Piss off. Ah, yes. So there's Savoyne, who is a warrior queen. Not literally a queen, but we love her. She is a knight. She's very good at what she does, but she feels sort of stuck and stilted. She's not allowed to do any sort of fighting or all of the things that she's used to doing. She's just kind of like the king's pet. There's also Focine, who is they call her like the mad woman, the witch, because she used to be part of this faith that worships the Constant Lady, and she kind of turned away from that because her interests were more alchemical, and she was interested in magic, but not in the way that the faith liked her to be. So she's kind of relegated and pushed to one side, even though she's quite clearly the most capable person to help fix any of these problems. And then there's also Trailer, who has kind of been in this very similar situation before, so she's very resourceful, and she kind of has this own little almost side plot that kind of is involved in the main plot that is just really creepy and weird and is never explained, and I love the fact that it's never explained. But I can just imagine like watching it on screen and just being like really creeped out by it, because it was horrible. Anyway, these three women, it's also very sapphic, so we love that. Sapphic medieval horror. Who knew that was what I needed in my life, but I need more of it. These women kind of find themselves trapped in the castle when these saints arrive. No one opens the castle doors for them. They just appear. They seem to just bring food with them, they heal the sick, and the castle kind of falls into this like hedonistic madness. I don't want to spoil too much of it because it is really good and really creepy, but these three women are essentially the ones that are trying to stop what is happening. And the story is fantastic. The relationships between the characters are amazing. I think the only reason I didn't give it 5 stars is because I felt like the conclusion just wrapped up a little bit too neatly for me. They set the threat up to be kind of like otherworldly, and how on earth are we ever going to defeat this? And then they kind of just did it, and that kind of really annoys me in like fantasy kind of settings, when they set up like this huge enormous threat. They do it a lot in like superhero movies as well, and it really bothers me, where they're like, how will we ever defeat this person? They're like 10 times, 1,000 times more powerful than us, and then they just kind of do it, which is kind of how this book felt. But in general, the vibes, the story, the plot, the characters, everything about it was just so good. Actually, after I'd gotten a few chapters in, I was listening to the audio as well as reading it again. I couldn't stop. I just needed to keep listening. It was really good. Highly recommend. So that wraps it up for everything I read in October, but what am I gonna read in November? I'm gonna tell you about it. So my plan for November is to wrap up the last 2 books that are on my full TBR, which are The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones, which I am just under 50 pages into at the moment. It's a little slow to start, But I think once I get another 20-30 pages or so in, I think it's really gonna kick up a notch and just be that real spooky vibe that I'm really looking for. And the other one is The Dream Hotel by Layla Lalamy. I think that's how you say her name. Apologies if it's not. So those two, probably my first priorities. And then once I've done that, I am going to pivot and really start cracking on with my 10 Before the End, which is a challenge that was hosted by the lovely Tatted Trash Reader. I will link her channel and the Storygraph page for the challenge down below as well. And it's for a really good cause. For every 10 books that are added to the challenge, she's going to be donating 1 book to the, let me just make sure I get this correct, Chicago Books to Women in Prison program. So it helps you get through your TBR, but it also is for a good cause at the end of the day. So please go and join that if you can. I'm really excited because it means that I'm getting to pick up some books that are quite new on my TBR, but also some books that have been on my TBR for a really long time, like Blood to Poison by Mary Watson. Embarrassingly, this is actually a NetGalley read for me, and it's been so long since I requested that not only do I have a physical copy of it, I've had this physical copy for probably 2 years, so I really need to get on this one. Get those NetGalley stats back up. I've requested quite a lot from there recently, and I don't want to fall behind again. Another one that's been on my TBR for a long time is Legendborn by Tracy Dion. I don't know if I'm gonna like it. People say it's amazing, but I've kind of moved out of the YA space a lot recently, and I'm a bit worried that I'm gonna pick this up and it's gonna feel really YA and I'm just not gonna enjoy it. But I really, really want to, because for one thing, look at the cover. And a second thing, people rave about this series. I had someone comment on my Instagram post that they're so jealous that I get to read this for the first time, and that is like the highest praise I've ever heard for a book. So I really, really hope I enjoy this one. And then some newer additions to my TBR, which are also part of my 10 Before the End, are Youth Juice by E.K. Sathaway, which is another horror, all about sort of the beauty industry. And as you know, I love my horror with a bit of a political, social commentary aspect. Apologies if you heard my stomach just then, but I'm quite hungry. And then the last one is the newest Sophie Gonzalez book, which is Nobody in Particular. And I know I've just said that I'm kind of moving out of the YA space, but for some reason Sophie Gonzalez just always does it for me. I don't know what it is, but every Sophie Gonzalez book I have read I don't know if I've ever actually given one of them 5 stars, but I just eat them up, fly through the pages, and I can't get enough of them. So I just know that I'm going to enjoy this one. I just know it. And Sapphic, modern day royalty, what more is there? Nothing. There's nothing more to love. Doesn't make any sense. Well, that was all a bit chaotic. But I think, as you can see, I'm probably getting a little bit more comfortable on camera now, even though it does still feel crazy to just be basically talking to myself an hour at a time. But we move on. We've got to make that content. Anyway, that was my reading in October and the books that I'm planning to read this month. So if you have any thoughts on any of that, if you've read any of the books I've talked about, let me know in the comments. Let's have a little chat about it. If there's any of the ones on my TBR that you're particularly interested to see my opinions on, then please let me know. I actually have a week off. Actually, not a week, 12 days. I have 12 days off in November, so I'm planning on doing a little catching up on my reading challenge TBR, because I am 9 books behind on my reading challenge, and that's just not good enough. It's for me, you do you, read at your own pace, but for me, that's just not good enough. I haven't failed a reading challenge since I've started doing a reading challenge, so I really need to get on that. And so you'll probably see a lot of the books that I've talked about in that vlog. I will leave links to the full reviews in the description down below on my website, and if you're interested in buying any of these, I'll also leave a link to purchase them from bookshop.org, a wonderful website which allows you to purchase books and support your local bookstore, which is just amazing. Who doesn't want to do that? If you use my link, then I may earn a small commission from your purchase at no extra cost to you. I really love to know what's on your November TBR. If you make TBRs, maybe you don't make TBRs, maybe you're a mood reader. And if you're a mood reader, tell me what you're currently reading. And let me know what the month looks like for you, because I'm very excited for November, because I really need a break from work, and I'd also love to just spend more time making content and not having to film and edit these videos literally the night before they're supposed to go up. So hopefully I can do a bit of that as well. Anyway, this was a really rambly, probably it's a really long video. I don't know how long it's going to be, but I apologize if it was a bit too rambly for you. But if you did like this video, then please make sure you hit that like button, and if you want to see more videos from me, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. I think my next goal is 50 subscribers by the end of November. That would be honestly just the most amazing thing. I can't even believe that I've got to 30. Like, that just seems like such a wild number to me. So honestly, thank you so much. And if you have liked what you've seen today, then make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can stick around and see more from me, because I'd really love to have you here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.